Hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for watching. My name's Lauren, and I'm here with Andrea Gilbert Clark, a colleague and friend of mine. She's a holistic nutritionist and much more. We're going to be talking about nutrition, holistic nutrition, and how it can affect or be important during the perimenopausal and menopausal phase. I'm first just going to start with asking you, Andrea, to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you arrived here.
Oh, wow. Well, it started out with fitness as a hobby, and then it just went from there. I love educating people. So part of it was starting to teach fitness and yoga and became a personal trainer. So it was one-on-one and not just group education. And then I became a holistic nutritionist because I feel like it all ties in together, the fitness, the nutrition, and just overall well-being of a person. I'm also like a metabolic balance coach, which is sort of a weight management coach. So again, it all kind of ties in together, and it started as a hobby and then it's become my profession now.
Thank you. And then, so we're going to talk more from the holistic nutrition side today. And I often mention holistic nutrition, but I'm not sure if people know fully what it is and how it compares to being a dietitian or a nutritionist. So maybe you could give us a little more info about that.
Yeah, a holistic nutritionist is a health professional, right? So someone like me who assesses wellness and vitality of a person, looking at sort of the whole person or their whole experiences. Um, and I use assessment tools and ask the client questions so I can learn as thorough thoroughly about them as possible so I can help them with their concerns or help them find like the root cause of some of their issues. Um, so I studied at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, and my actual designation is a certified nutritional practitioner, but it's synonymous with being a holistic nutritionist. Holistic meaning looking at the whole person, not just treating a symptom. I mean, I'm not a doctor, of course, so I don't, diagnose anything. Um, and then I also use like science-based knowledge and consensus to develop like an individualized program for clients. So I use food, so your nutrition, supplements, and then lifestyle recommendations for an individualized approach for the client. And I use all of my knowledge as well as like the fitness and yoga. So sometimes lifestyle recommendations can be breathing exercises, yoga meditation, or some fitness or whatever it is, especially for menopausal women, strength training, as well as the nutrition portion is super important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for letting us know a little bit more about holistic nutrition. And so, from the nutrition side, how do you think that nutrition, or what can you do to get nutrition to help with and manage perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms?
Yeah, so first I'll just mention, so there's three macronutrients that are important, right? Your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fat. Okay, so let's start off with protein actually. So for menopause or perimenopause, and you know what? I have a slide here. Let me see if I can share it with you so that I can um oh, nope. Okay, maybe we're not going to be able to. Let's see. Um, I will try here one more time. And if I can't, then I'll just tell you all, oh, here we are. Okay. So I'm going to share this and I'll just put it in present.
Perfect.
There we go. So, protein. So when I talk about protein, I 3 to 4 servings of high quality protein. So that's maybe the size of the palm of your hand. So when I say that kind of makes it a little easier than saying, okay, if you're a 130-pound person, you should be having, at least half of that in grams of protein. So that, I mean, that can bring it to context. So it depends on what the person might need. So 3 to 4 servings of high quality, meaning like if you have a can of tuna, okay, so that's maybe the size of your palm, that's 24 grams of protein. So if you're like a 130-pound person, and you're active, then maybe you need about 75 grams of protein. So that can be, so if that can of tuna is about 24 grams, then that's for one meal. And then 2 other meals, you're trying to get the rest of those grams. It's not perfect every day, but just generally thinking about the size of, if you have chicken or turkey or whatever, the size of the palm of the hand. So protein is super important for perimenopause or menopausal health, and especially if you're active as well. So protein is broken down into amino acids, and which the body needs to make neurotransmitters, right? So neurotransmitters are like serotonin, dopamine, GABA. So for example, serotonin, which aids in stabilizing mood, sleep, eating, digestion, it's super important to have you know, to have a lot of protein in your diet. It also helps to keep your blood sugar stable, right? So it helps to keep you more satiated so you're not feeling hungry until your next meal. And then it also helps prevent mood swings. So, for example, like the serotonin, which is made from the amino acids, right? Organic soy foods are actually, I know there's definitely been old research that soy products can affect, um, people who are more susceptible to breast cancer. However, if you have organic soy food, because soy, regular as a crop, is very heavily pesticide, full of pesticides. So you definitely want to have non-GMO or organic soy food. And in that sense, then it contains isoflavones or phytoesterols or phytoestrogens, if you will, that produce mild estrogenic effects that can help with the symptoms of menopause. So some of those symptoms, we haven't really talked about yet, but hot flashes are really common, sleep disturbances, um, vaginal dryness. So it can help with some of those symptoms. And then along with other protein I mentioned, like the lean protein, turkey and chicken, lean meats, fish, organic eggs. I'm not saying never have red meat, but you want to keep probably red meat, butter, saturated fats lower in your diet. Um, yeah, and then with soy that we just discussed, having like the organic soy protein, edamame, tofu, tempeh, any of those are excellent. And then let's look at carbohydrates. So carbohydrates, I'm mostly talking about fruits and veggies. So 5 to 6 servings, which actually, ideally, fruits and veggies or more so veggies, you want to have more servings than that. 6, 7, 8, 9, but it's really hard to get in. So that's why I'm keeping it a little bit lower. The serving of vegetables, if it's cooked, then it's about half a cup. If it's not cooked, it's about a full cup. So 5 to 6 servings shouldn't actually be too hard to get in there, hopefully. So brightly colored vegetables and fruits have the most nutrients, antioxidants, and they also help fight free radicals. Um, if you can, you want to try to eat a little bit more plant-based phytoestrogens if you can. But so we're talking about, spinach, kale, um, broccoli sprouts are super healthy. Throw them on your salad, throw them in a wrap, throw them, yeah, they're really, really healthy. Garlic, fennel, and parsley, spirulina. Those are all excellent for perimenopause and menopause especially. They're also high in fiber, Fiber, you're trying to get 25 to 30 grams of fiber in a day. And then the best grains and legumes for perimenopause or menopause symptoms, barley. I know it sounds funny. Like, I don't know if you ever use barley in like soups and stuff. Um, Organic brown, ideally organic, but or non-GMO, whole grain brown rice, quinoa, lentils, edamame, and chickpeas are high on the list. It doesn't mean you can't have other grains or legumes, but these are the top ones I recommend. And then last but not least, we have fats. So fats can come in the form of like avocado, olive oil, but really important here is essential fatty acids. So having 2 to 3 servings a day. So if you have 3 tablespoons of olive oil, that's your 3 servings. If you have avocado ones, if you have walnuts, omega-3 eggs, then you have those servings. Um, if you eat fish, cold water fish, amazing. So halibut, salmon, trout, mackerel, any of those cold water fish have essential fatty acids. If you don't eat that fish, you can also take omega-3 capsules or fish oil. It really helps decrease inflammation. Nuts and seeds are excellent, like, hemp, chia, what am I missing? Oh, flaxseed, right? Ground flaxseed, excellent. It should be ground though, because whole flaxseed, you're not gonna get all the nutrients from it. It's not gonna digest. So you need to ground your your flax, your flax seeds, and then the nuts and seeds and all those seeds, the ground flaxseed and stuff, what I just mentioned, also phytoestrogens, which appear to have those effects against hot flashes, vaginal dryness, and helps with mental functioning. Okay, so this is not any it's not fat, carbohydrates, or protein, so it's not any macronutrients, but also super important. So I'm just going to throw this in. Water. Being really well hydrated is super important because it helps the body on a cellular level. It's important for really flushing toxins from your cells. So, the excess of hormones as well helps them be flushed out. But of course, water is also good for joints, for your skin, and it has other positive attributes. Oops. Sorry, I'm already going to the next thing.
Yes, we're getting to that. I just wanted to comment. I'm really happy you talked about soy because, yeah, there's still a lot of people are still fearful of soy, organic soy. And I think I remember reading a study that it was about for 2 weeks, smaller group, so a small group, but had about a cup of edamame a day, and they found they had positive effects on their estrogen and a decrease in those vasomotor issues like hot flashes. So it is quite important, and people have been made to fear it a little bit, and they shouldn't. So I'm glad you talked about that. And also the flax, I've told clients this before about the importance of grinding it up as well to be more digestible. So
Exactly.
lots of interesting stuff. To your next slide, perhaps. Yes, I was going to ask you, are there dietary mistakes that you find that perimenopausal or menopausal women make? And if you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. You know what? I will go to the slide. Why not?
Perfect.
Um, so the thing is, foods you want to sort of limit or avoid. And I'm not saying never have coffee, but if you're caffeine, and caffeine could also be in chocolate, so don't have that right before bed. And caffeine is also in, green tea, oolong tea, chai tea, black tea. And so I'm not saying never have caffeine, but if you have a lot of sleep disturbances, if you are super stressed out and your adrenals are already fatiguing, I really recommend trying to get off caffeine for a while. That's not forever, but just see if that can help with some of your sleep issues. Alcohol as well, you want to try to avoid or have it rarely, like, or just for special occasions, because alcohol, so for example, alcohol may help you fall asleep well, but then you wake up in the night. You wake up in the night because your blood sugar has dropped, and then you wake up. So if you're having sleep problems, then you want to try to avoid caffeine and alcohol for sure. Caffeine and alcohol also affect hot flashes. So there is research on this. So if you are having both of those issues, really trying to cut down or take it out for a while and see how that may help. Maybe it won't take away those symptoms like all the way, but maybe it'll lessen them, and that may be worth it. So I also want to look at refined sugar. Sugars are in everything. So looking at your label. So like if you like ketchup, it's in ketchup, sauces, um, salad dressing. So try to make your own salad dressings and sauces where you can just make a big batch and then you have it in your fridge and you can pull it out easily. Because I know we do those things for convenience and we're busy, but if you try to keep down those refined sugars, so refined sugars are also in a lot of baked goods, even breads. If you look at the label of bread, so try to have like sourdough bread or sourdough rye. Rye often doesn't have sugar in it. So just really taking notice of the labels of your foods, to try to keep those sugars and especially refined sugars down. And then trans fats. Luckily, they have reduced trans fats in a lot of those processed foods that you can stick in your cupboard, but you still need to look at your labels. So trans fats are often in fast foods, but it also can be in potato chips. It can be in chocolate. It could be in, certain crackers. So just be mindful of what you have in your cupboards and look at your labels and spicy foods. So if you're having hot flashes, you definitely want to try to stay away from spicy foods. Um, because that just, you may have loved it, in your 20s, but our body is changing and we just can't handle all these things the same way we used to be able to. So yes, there are some changes that need to be made, but it doesn't mean forever. And it also means usually it's for the better. And changing your lifestyle, it is hard. It's not easy making changes. But if you want to feel better and really, feel your best, then you need to make some changes. So, and then also I wrote, we're not saying have no dairy products because dairy does have calcium and it also has phosphorus, and that's a whole other discussion another day. But if you have sinus issues, if you have a lot of allergies, stay away from dairy. If not, great. Go ahead, have dairy products. Just try to make them organic if you can. And then just trying to consume lower animal products except for fish, because that's higher in saturated fats, and that also affects abdominal fat, weight gain, your arteries. When what's so great about perimenopause and menopause, where your body is changing and in transition, these things really matter because you could start having some heart issues, especially also if there's genetics involved as well. But that's also a whole other topic for us. But anyways, so there's my 2 cents. I don't know whether you have some other stuff to share.
Yeah,
But
that's great. And I like that you commented too with uh, alcohol that people fall asleep easily on it, but they don't realize that it may contribute to them waking up. And I almost feel the same with caffeine. Sometimes people say they can have it at night and then they fall asleep, but they don't relate the restful or restlessness during the night relate to the caffeine. So that's an important point.
absolutely.
Um,
So if you are
Oh,
having caffeine, try to have it just in the morning,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you have any
That's
sleep disturbances, you really want to minimize that,
absolutely.
anything that can affect it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we can also talk about supplementation. So to help support symptoms and body changes during perimenopause and menopause. That's a mouthful.
I know, right? Yeah, absolutely. I have another slide for this. So,
Perfect. I love slides.
just to hang, yeah, just bear with me for a second
No
and I
problem.
will share this. Um, okay, so here we go. Oops,
Mhm.
there we go. All right, so some supplements and herbs for perimenopause or menopause that just help support and help balance those hormones. So, vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin E, they're all antioxidants, so those are excellent. Um, they help, um, you know, like I said, they help take uh sorry. This is perimenopausal
I
symptom,
know.
brain freeze, right?
No, yeah,
Brain freeze. So
absolutely.
I have the slide in front of me. I should be just reading it, right? You can read it too. Okay, so vitamin A helps lower cancer risk.
Mhm.
Like I said, as an antioxidant, um, promotes healthy skin. So vitamin A is in a lot of so beta carotene is actually vitamin A. So a lot of those like orange foods like squash, pumpkin, carrots, right? Good for your eyes as well. It's involved in tissue healing. So yeah, so the foods are excellent. But if you need more, the vitamin A, taking that is important. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is always good. It's good for immunity, but it helps with hot flashes, heart health, and is also an antioxidant, as I mentioned. And then vitamin E stimulates the production of estrogen. So it helps balance hormones, also an antioxidant, as I mentioned. And a really good source of vitamin E is actually wheat germ. So if you want to take it in food, wheat germ or wheat germ oil is excellent. Um, Vitamin E is also in like sunflower seeds. It's also in Brazil nuts. But I mean, you'd have to eat a lot of them to get as much vitamin E as you really need to help stimulate the production of estrogen. Okay, so that's why I'm recommending a supplement.
Mhm.
Vitamin B complex, also super excellent, especially if you need an energy boost. If you're feeling a little bit more fatigue, which is probably likely to high stress, and your um, cortisol levels are really high from stress. Um, so B complex helps improve your circulation, but it all and cell function, but it really also helps give you energy. It's a powerful anti-stress vitamin. So if you have like a bit of anxiety or a lot of stress, this can help a little bit. Supports the adrenals, as I mentioned. It can also minimize water retention. A lot of us, if you're really feeling bloated though, especially after you eat, that could be another issue with your gut. So just saying, potentially it could be SIBO, but that's a whole other discussion as well. And then helps protect against heart disease. So the folic acid, which is B9. And then, of course, um, perimenopause and menopause brings on some issues with bone density and our bones. So having calcium, so your doctor may recommend that you take calcium, but along with calcium, you really need to be taking vitamin D because it's a cofactor in calcium metabolism. And vitamin D, of course, is also good for immunity, good for your bones, teeth, etc. And then along with that is magnesium. So you can take the magnesium glycinate, as I mentioned here, which helps prevent bone loss, irritability, and nervousness. But it's also like a vasodilator, right? So it also helps calm you. So if magnesium glycinate isn't calming for you and it keeps you kind of wide awake, magnesium threonate is really good. That also helps with nervousness, anxiety. Okay. And then just a herb here, dong quai, which is particularly useful in promoting vaginal dryness, vaginal health. Sorry, it helps not promote vaginal dryness.
I don't want
It
more than
actually
that of
helps with that. So you have less dryness. Sorry. And then it helps to ease hot flashes. So hope
Wonderful.
that helps.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
so much we can talk about. I think we're going to maybe have to do a part two because I would love to talk more about the gut and sleep disturbances with you. So maybe we can arrange that for another time.
Okay,
Because,
sounds good.
yeah, gut health, of course. But
Yeah.
thank you so much. That was super informative, a lot of interesting stuff that I hadn't heard before, and hopefully interesting to our viewers as well. Thank you for taking the
You're
time.
so welcome.
Yeah, we will do it again.